guys, this is P.M.R.Bonez88, and today for my next horror slasher movie review, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. So this fourth film came out in the late summer of 1988. Sure, there has been some mixed reviews about this film, but it did hit up to about $49.3 million in the US. So it became the highest grossing horror film. It was only number one in the box office for just 1 week, and then by week after week it just went down below to the top 10 list, so it was only popular just for 1 week, and that was it. We have a new director named Renny Harlin to direct the fourth Nightmare movie, and they even brought back were Robert Englund and Ken Zenkos that played Joey and Kincaid from Nightmare 3 The Dream Warriors. And there's been rumors about Patricia Arquette not returning to play as Kristen Parker. I'm not even too sure if the rumors were true or not, but they brought Tuesday Night to play as Kristen. She also did a song for the intro of Nightmare 4. The song was called Running From This Nightmare, and I wanted to get my hands on that song. I couldn't find it on iTunes for some reason, but if they have the album to The Dream Master, then they have it on eBay or on Amazon, maybe I could get my hands on it. I hope it's cheaper. For the storyline, it was kind of rushed, and that goes same for the script. If you wanted to make a good story or a good script, don't rush it too much, because at that point the movie will make no sense. The plot won't even make sense either. But for Nightmare 4, like I said, once again, is my second favorite. And the only reason why it's my second favorite, because the visual effects, the kills, and Freddy. So the movie starts out where Kristen investigates, or to be sure that Freddy is really dead and he's really gone for good. But she keeps on hearing things and goes into the house. Thinks she hears that Freddy is back, and that's where she brings Kincaid and Joy to get some help. But they try to convince her that Freddy is dead, and she denies it. She's not even too sure if she's really dead, that she believes that he's gonna come back. And then the next day we introduced two new characters, which were Alice, Kristen's best friend, her brother Rick, and also Kristen's boyfriend, high school crush and soon to be former boyfriend Dan, Alice's love interest. We have also the geeky nerd Sheila and the tough chick Debbie. However, for Nightmare 4, it's actually a two-part story. So this was still a continuation of Nightmare 3 Dream Warriors, and the other half we don't even see it until where all the Dream Warriors are dead. So this is still Dream Warriors. This is still Nightmare 3. This is not Nightmare 4, the whole thing. So we only have is the first half, just for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes of Dream Warriors, and then up to the rest of this whole film is Dream Master. So back to the story. KK falls asleep, and then his dog comes into his dream. They are at the junkyard during where Freddy's bones were buried, and some strange reason that Kincaid's dog acts a little strange, acts all mean to him and all evil, which means you could definitely tell that's Freddy possessing Kincaid's dog. And the funniest part is where the dog just peed on fire. I just find that hilarious, of a dog just peeing on the ground and splitting it, and where we see Freddy's bones down there. You know what they could have done, and it's my opinion, and I know I have a crazy and sometimes disgusting parts ever, is they could have just either, that the dog couldn't just breathe fire into his mouth, just like a dragon, or they couldn't just let Freddy coming out of the dog's body, and just like, you know, we see the blood coming out and the dog's jaw is just stretching out and just ripping, and he tears him apart. Then they could have done that. That could have been really gruesome and really, really violent. They scratched that idea. So anyways, we see Freddy's bones that were becoming ashes, but then all of a sudden his bones starts to come back together, and his liver, his flesh, blood just coming back. And I love that. And with the special effects and what they did when they were filming it, they actually just melted the dummy, well, the dummy of Freddy just melted down, but when they edited, they did it reversed. That's what I love about these film editing, that they could just, including the special effects, they could just like reverse stuff or make it fast or slow it down, or even bring their voices into a monstrous voice. That's what I love about film editing. So Freddy comes back, and then he kills the Dream Warriors off one by one. So he kills Kincaid, and then he goes after Joey by drowning and trapping him inside of a waterbed. And then lastly, he taunts Kristen, just torments her until brings someone into her dreams, because she is the key, the only one that just wants to bring people into their dreams. So when she brought Alice in, there Freddy kills Kristen, and then but somehow her powers were transferred into Alice. Alice becomes the main hero, the main character of this film. Like Kristen's powers, she used the same thing. She brings everyone into her dreams, just pull them in, just how Kristen did to Alice when Freddy was taunting her and she was in his boiler room. So Freddy kills most of her friends. So Alice now has to fight back, and she becomes the official badass Dream Master. It starts to become a little more of a comedy film, and for some strange reason that Nightmare 4 felt like it was a PG-13 horror film instead of rated R. Because there weren't too much, you know, blood or guts that were happening. Not much gory than Nightmare 3 Dream Warriors. I don't know why, but it felt like it, because we didn't see blood gushing out of Kincaid's stomach. We only saw was more blood and gore, whereas Joey's death, that was it. And more likely it started to become hilarious. Especially my favorite part, and it's really funny, when Rick was like in a dream jitsu whatever in a karate judo gym place, that Freddy was invisible and he was kicking the shit out of Rick. But then Rick just like starts fighting karate nowhere, just we don't see anything. And they could have used like different elements effects on Freddy. They could have used like wind elements or fire elements to make it look like he was invisible or something. The only thing that reappeared out of nowhere was just Freddy's glove, and that was it. Why couldn't they just show Freddy, like the whole Freddy self of him? Like Freddy wearing a karate robe or a uniform, or wearing a bandana that Rick wore in the beginning where he was like training in the car garage. It just felt so I don't know how to describe it. Ridiculous. It was just plain out ridiculous. And if I didn't find this funny, is another hilarious scene where Freddy just made everyone into pizza, and we see Rick's face as a meatball, and Freddy just like picks on him and just eats him. So he taunts them, plays around, because even though that he is a dream demon, he could just taunt them, torments them, turn them into whatever he wants them to become. Another thing that I felt very scared and concerned, that there was a time loop that was happening where Alice she picks up Dan, and then it keeps repeating itself. I thought at first that either the DVD was scratched or something, or it kept on repeating itself over and over, or maybe the DVD player was messed up. But to find out it was just a time loop, and we see just what was different, and we see extra was Freddy killing Debbie and turning her into a cockroach. That was pretty amazing, and I love that kind of special kill. I mean, Freddy's kill is that he could just do whatever he wants. He could be more creative. He could turn them into whatever he wants them into. And up to the end, it was a final climactic clash between Alice and Freddy, and how Alice just defeats Freddy was just evil himself, so showing a reflection of Freddy, and we see all the souls of the children coming out of Freddy's body. I love that. That death was like really interesting, very gory and scary at the same time. So now Freddy was once again defeated by Alice, and then at the end Alice was free from Freddy, and that was the great ending. So Freddy is finally dead. Or is he? So after done talking about this film, the movie is good, but it's not as better than Dream Warriors and not as better than the first film. But it's kind of interesting. Freddy is now kind of starting to become a funny character. Yeah, I think he belongs into a Looney Tunes show. Make him as a cartoon version of him and join Bugs and the other Looney Tune characters. The kills were very creative that I love. Even the visual effects were quite amazing as well. But stepping up the direction that Renny Harlin wanted to make Nightmare on Elm Street 4 wasn't really quite how I expected it to be. I only wish they could have made it more realistic. I also wish they could have made it much more gory and violent and scary like part 3 and part 1. And I also lastly wish that Freddy could have been a little serious and not too much of a comedian. But most likely, like I said, once again, it's my second favorite and I watch it all the time. So just to rate this film, for Nightmare 4 The Dream Master, I have to give it originally I was going to give it an 8 out of 10, but I decided to push it up to about 8.3 out of 10, so I give it a solid B. A fair use for Nightmare 4 is really interesting, and most likely is probably mostly everybody's favorite movie besides Dream Warriors and the first film. But either way, I'm glad that Robert Englund did return to play as Freddy, because he's the best and he can do whatever he wants, and nobody could do anything much greater to be as Freddy Krueger except Robert Englund. I said it so many times, but he is the man. And I do own this movie on Blu-ray and DVD. And this is P.M.R.Bonez88's signing off. His saying is, peace!
I am eternal.
Poor Freddy. You have yet been defeated by the Dream Master. But no matter, you're not through yet. Especially you, P.M.R.Bonez88. 'Cause I am gonna come for you. And soon you will be reviewing Nightmare 5. And Krueger, you're going to be a daddy. So I'll be waiting for you.